Universitas Negeri Malang lah daripada Indonesia. So sebelum kita mulakan, so saya akan bacakan ni lah sedikit biografi Prof. Poppy. So I was born in Malang, Indonesia. Oh, 1997. Muda lah. She received the bachelor degree in Mechanical Engineering Education from State City of Malang in 2001. Then Master Engineering from Bandung Institute Technology. Dan PhD in Electrical Electronic Engineering from UTP lah. This is where I know Prof. Poppy lah, long time ago lah. Okay. So currently she is an associate professor in Medical Department, Engineering Faculty, State City of Malang. So her research interests include magnetic material for nanofluid in heat exchanger application, nanomaterial for electrical component, nano reinforced material for non-ferroalloys. So Scopus Index 11, then Google Scholar Index is 15. Right now, she is focusing on research and application and material in bio, nano, lubricant, and triplogy properties. Currently, Prof. Poppy is position is
Vice Dean.
Vice Dean, isn't it? Kan?
Yeah, Vice Dean. Check 5.
So it's Vice Dean lah. Vice Dean at the Faculty of Engineering lah. Okay. So without further ado, so we invite Prof. Poppy to present her title. Okay, Puan Dana, boleh share slide lah.
Boleh. Boleh terus start ke?
Ya, boleh. Okay, silakan.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. So I would like to present about the application of nanomaterials for renewable energy. First of all, it's an honor for me to get the invitation from Prof. Samsul and from UMS especially to give the talk in the nanomaterials, especially in the topic that I sent to Prof. Samsul is about the nickel cobalt for supercapacitor, but I will explain more about the research that I held this time about the application of nanomaterials, especially for the renewable energy and later on also for the tribology. Next. So the outline of my presentation consists of Universitas Negeri Malang itself. I will explain briefly, and also for the Center of Advanced Materials and Renewable Energy in Universitas Negeri Malang, and the nanomaterials and its application. And last is about my research experiences. Next. Okay, so where is Universitas Negeri Malang? I will explain that you can fly from the Sabah to KL first, and then you go to Surabaya. And Surabaya Malang is about 1.5 hours to Malang, Prof. Samsul and a friend from UMS. You can go to Universitas Negeri Malang. Next. So when you arrive at Surabaya Airport or Juanda International Airport, you can just take a car or maybe rent car, or I will pick you up from airport to go to Malang, about 1.5.
Bagus.
Ya, boleh ya, Prof.
Ya.
Okay, next. So Universitas Negeri Malang itself, we have 9 faculties, 31 departments, and also more than 1,000 lecturers with the student body of 28,000 in the 9 faculties. Okay, next. So this is our map. We have 3 campus actually. So this is only for the first campus or main campus that I'm here now at the campus, the first campus at Universitas Negeri Malang. Okay, next. Okay, so basically in Universitas Negeri Malang we have 2 center of excellence, Prof. Samsul. So we just have the Center of Advanced Materials and Renewable Energy, or CAMRI, and the second one is the Center for Disrupting Learning Innovation. So more for the education student, education lecturer who teach about the mechanical engineering education or maybe the basic education. We have another center of excellence. So the lecturer who has the basic knowledge or the research about materials and the renewable energy, all of us gather at the CAMRI, Center of Advanced Materials and Renewable Energy, and At Camry, we have focusing the research on this 4 part. There are a solar cell, biomass, storage material, and smart grid. Next. So my main research is more to the storage material and also for the biolubricant for the renewable energy. Next. Yeah. In Cambridge itself, we have a lecturer, researcher, and also the postgrad student, and we have the we have undergrad student that help our research in our research group. Okay, next. So these are the facilities that we have right now, and we keep enhancing the facility for the characterization. We have XRD, XRF, SEM, and the late at 2021 we have single X-ray diffraction, and these tools is one and only in Indonesia. Also the low temperature PPMS, we have also vibrating sample magnetometer or VSM. Also maybe in Indonesia only two, we have two VSM, one in Universitas Negeri Malang. But for the single X-ray, there is only one in Indonesia, which is in our lab. Okay, next. So this is my research experiences. So from 2017 to 2019, I did the synthesis and characterization of oxide and magnetic materials. Maybe Prof. Samsul knew me from the UTP. We have the synthesis and characterization of magnetic materials. And then I continue here as a lecturer. I did the research on the oxide and magnetic materials. And 2020, I started to do the research on the application. So focusing on application of nanomaterials for the mechanical engineering part or mechanical engineering field. So I collaborate with my friend in energy program. So I use the nanomaterial for solid fuel catalyst. This one I use the zinc oxide, titanium oxide, manganese oxide, and also the eggshell powder, which producing the calcium carbonate for the catalyst. At 2021, I did the application of the nanomaterial for nanofluid for heat exchanger. So this one I collaborate with my friend also in the energy sector or energy expertise. She has the research about the heat exchanger. So she used my nanomaterial for the nanofluid for her heat exchanger. And for 2022, I use nanomaterial for the supercapacitor. So this one I started using some oxide material and also magnetic materials for the supercapacitor. Now at 2023, I use the nanomaterial for the tribology, but the supercapacitor itself, I just got the grant for the nanomaterials for supercapacitor, and the other grant is for the nanolubricant, which is for the tribology sector. Okay, next. So these are the roadmap for my research. So first we just the basic for the synthesis and characterization of nickel oxide and cobalt oxide or any oxide material, and then we move for the application as the supercapacitor, and maybe at 2026 until 2028 as the my future research is about the product itself, the hybrid supercapacitor or pseudo supercapacitor using the nickel cobalt. And 29 and 2030, we can do the commercialization of the product. Okay, next. And this is the roadmap for the tribology using the nanomaterials or the bio nanolubricant. So from the basic itself, the exploration of the oxide material, or usually this one I use the calcium carbonate for the lubricant, which is a synthetic lubricant, and also the biolubricant from the banana peel. So the one that using banana peel is the research grant with the matching fund. I collaborate with UTEM this year, and at 2022, I also got the grant, but not the matching fund. It is the international collaboration also with UTEM about the nanolubricant, but that one using the synthetic lubricant. And this year we use the biolubricant for the tribology application. Okay, next. So this is my team at Universitas Negeri Malang. There is Prof. Sukarni. He has done the research, and until now, he's still doing the research about the solid and liquid fuel, which is using my nanomaterials. So the synthesis and characterization from the nanomaterials that I produce with my team for the catalyst. And the other one is Miss Afita Ayu. She did the research on heat exchanger and also solar flat plate collector using the nanomaterials for the nanofluid. So the nanofluid itself, she will run on the heat exchanger and also solar flat plate to get the higher efficiency for the performance of the heat exchanger and solar flat plate. So this project, which Miss Afita Ayu lead, has collaboration with UTEM lecturer also, Dr. Afza, and she also has exchange student to UTEM for this project by this year. Okay, next. So this one actually the schematic diagram for the nanomaterial for heat exchanger that Miss Afita used and collaboration with my team about the nanomaterials. The heat exchanger is still in the lab scale. So this one using the there is a hot fluid and the nano fluid that run on the heat exchanger, and we can measure the temperature in when the inlet and outlet come out, so we can calculate how the temperature changes using the nanomaterial in that fluid and without the nanomaterial in that fluid. Therefore, we can calculate the efficiency or maybe the different temperature, how effective is the nanofluid on that system. Okay, next. Okay, this one, for example, we use the nickel oxide for the exchanger. This one, I already got the patent also that the nickel oxide can use as the nanofluid for the heat exchanger. So for the nickel oxide itself, the characterization consists of the XRD, SEM, scanning electron microscope for the morphology, and also the vibrating sample magnetometer. At the last graph, you can see there is a green, blue, and also red line there. And the best nickel oxide shows that the sintered nickel oxide get the highest magnetization, meaning that the nanofluid which is used for the heat exchanger is the best if the heat exchanger use nickel oxide with the sinter condition. Okay, next. Okay, this is the data for the heat exchanger after using the nanofluid. You can see from the last graph, the red one shows that the nickel oxide with the sintering temperature, with the sintering condition, has the highest heat transfer value, which is this is the best nanomaterial for the heat transfer application. Okay, next. And when we do the application for the heat exchanger using the titanium dioxide, we also get some parameter at the thermophysical properties and also the result for the heat exchanger. Okay, next. Okay, this what previously the titanium dioxide for the exchanger also the same result. The titanium dioxide and the nickel oxide, if we compare, is better using the titanium dioxide for the heat exchanger. Okay, this one is another application for the nanomaterials, which is for the catalyst of the microalgae pyrolysis. So this research is led by Professor Sukarni. So he wants to actually have the candidate or propose the candidate for the solid fuel, which is from the microalgae. So for the process itself, microalgae have to do the pyrolysis process and need the catalyst to speed up the process of the pyrolysis. To speed up the process, it needs the nanomaterials catalyst because the nanomaterials will enhance the process in the pyrolysis itself and help microalgae to change to become the solid fuel. Okay, next. The other application is for the supercapacitor. This one I use the cobalt oxide. So before I use the nickel cobalt, I also use cobalt oxide as the candidate for supercapacitor material. So the figure 1 there is the result of the single phase cobalt oxide, which I synthesize using the sol gel method, and also the morphology of cobalt oxide after the synthesis. And the last is the application as the supercapacitor with the high cycle result using cobalt oxide. Okay, next. And this one is my research by this year using the nickel cobalt oxide as the supercapacitor. As we know from the experiment, we got several morphology there because there is a different variation when we do the synthesis. There is a different morphology from the bulk material, and also there is agglomeration, and also the non-homogeneous shape there, irregular shape, but mostly there is a quasi-sphere particle shape because of the combustion, because we use the self-combustion. Previously, when we do the cobalt oxide synthesis, we got the almost irregular shape. But this one, we use the self-combustion synthesis and we got quasi-sphere particle. Okay, next. This one is the magnetic properties for the nickel cobalt oxide that use the vibrating sample magnetometer. So I synthesize the nickel cobalt oxide using different solvent. The solvent is the citric acid, ethylene glycol, and nitric acid. From the three solvent, we can see there the red line at the VSM at the hysteresis curve. The red line has the higher magnetic moment, nickel cobalt oxide, and if we have the table there, we saw that the nickel cobalt oxide using the citric acid also has the highest magnetic remanence and the coercivity, meaning that nickel cobalt oxide using the citric acid is the best material for the supercapacitor. But what happened if the hysteresis curve at the very low temperature? We can see for the next slide, please. Okay, this one is the hysteresis curve at the minus 100 degree centigrade temperature. The result also the same, that the nickel cobalt oxide synthesis using the citric acid has the highest magnetic saturation, has the highest coercivity, but there is a decrease in magnetic remanence. So there is a differences between characterization at the room temperature at 30 degrees centigrade and also at minus 100 centigrade. So the difference temperature get the difference result of the magnetic properties, and we can see from the application as the pseudo capacitor, there will be a change also at the application if we choose wrong nickel cobalt oxide. Okay, next. If we compare the crystallite size and the coercivity or Hc at the y-axis, we get the connection there, that the crystallite size and also coercivity shows the nickel cobalt oxide actually as the pseudo capacitor characteristic. So it's not the very high or super capacitor, but it is pseudo capacitor from the magnetic properties. So the performance of pseudo capacitor is relies on the electrode material and the reversible interface of the active electrode for distance interaction. Okay, next. From this picture, we can see there is an there is a connection between octahedral and tetrahedral site, and also their magnetic moment is to be anti-parallel from the spin. We can see from the spin there. Beside that, the cancellation between two sublattice spin is incomplete due to the different magnetic moment between nickel and cobalt ions, and there is a resulting of the ferrimagnetic characteristic. Okay, next. As the conclusion that from the XRD, we can get the single phase of nickel cobalt oxide, and the orientation is the phase center cubic. And for the morphology of nickel cobalt oxide from the scanning electron microscope, we got the quasi sphere shape, which represent the best performance, including specific capacity, cycle stability, and rate capability if we do the application for the pseudo capacitor. And last is the hysteresis curve. For the nickel cobalt oxide, there is a very magnetic properties, and the magnetic properties is affected by cation distribution and valence, as well as the electronic configuration between the tetrahedral and octahedral sites within the crystal structure itself. Next. Okay, so these are the collaborators that used from the research that I have. So there is a Professor Timotius Pasang from OIT, US, Prof. Hadinur, Prof. Mustafa, Prof. Maizatul Sima, Dr. Jeffrey, Dr. Syahrul, ini maybe Prof. Samsul juga kenal ya, dulu kawan-kawan dekat UTP. Kemudian there is
Ya,
Dr.
kawan-kawan
Ilham,
dulu.
kawan-kawan UTP ya. Kemudian there is a Dr. Majid, and then Puan Farazila, Puan Nurin, and also Prof. Samsul. Jumpa lagi. Okay, next. Okay, ini beberapa. So this is some of the meeting with them, with the collaborators, and when they come to Universitas Negeri Malang, also we have several meeting and maybe guest lecture. Just we did right now, but we do in Universitas Negeri Malang. So maybe next time I can come also at UMS ya, Prof. Samsul. Prof. Samsul come to
Ya,
UM.
silakan. Ya, boleh.
Okay, next. Ya, jadi ini yang membantu saya nih, Prof. So these are the students from research assistant and also student that help our research in the material. So there is a materials research project group, and also the consists of the bachelor and master degree, because we don't have doctoral degree yet. So we have the bachelor degree and also master degree who help our research in this group. I think that's all for me, Prof. Samsul. I think we can discuss more on this research if there is interesting part. Thank you.
Oh,
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi
okay, thank you
wabarakatuh.
very much, Associate Professor Dr. Poppy. So, okay, so is there any question from the clip? Okay, ada sebarang soalan? Maybe we're getting about how do we fit into this the renewable energy research lah, Poppy ya.
Ya,
So I mean, how do computer science and IT, right? Okay, maybe we can collaborate further di sini. So maybe I saw one potential area is image processing lah kan?
image
Because
processing.
tadi
Okay, okay.
Profesor ada tunjuk gambar image yang diperolehi kan. So mungkin salah satunya yang saya nampak image processing lah. Bisa yang apa learning ke neural network kan. Itu
Ya,
salah
ya.
satu possible lah.
We have discussed about
Seperti
that, right, Prof. Samsul, about the machine
ya,
learning or
tapi
maybe deep
itulah tak
learning.
selesai-selesai lagi.
Itulah. Sebab macam tu tak boleh discuss dalam 1-2 jam saja, itu kena short course ke 1 minggu.
Ah,
In
Ya,
1
ya,
week
ya,
kan.
ya.
Sebab itu macam Prof. Samsul punya expertise, dan yang
Ya,
saya
nanti kita
lebih more
pikirkan
to
macam mana
experimental
tu.
ya. Okay.
Ya, kita pikirkan.
Ya.
Okay, any question?
Sudah berapa series, Prof? Webinar?
Yang apa webinar? Banyak sudah.
Ada banyak ya?
Banyak sudah. Kita target setahun Mungkin dalam maksimum 12 lah.
Tapi online boleh ya kat sana ya? Dekat sini
Boleh
dah
boleh.
tak kira lagi kalau online sebab dah tak COVID,
Oh,
kena datang sini.
sini boleh lagi.
Saya nanti jemput
Oh,
Prof Samsul.
ya ya ya. Oh, okey, sini boleh lagi lah.
Boleh lagi ya.
Okay, so I have yalah some question lah. Okay, so Surah kan, I think yalah regarding the image processing, so how do we fit lah into this renewable energy lah? Because nowadays they have, I think they call energy computing something like that lah. So maybe we can think that one lah kan, macam how to computer science or ICT, right? Can be inilah, can be embed into that energy punya research lah kan. The moment probably just apa dah buat dia punya experimentation kan. So macam mana kita nak relatekan computer science dan teknologi maklumat ke dalam into that research lah. Mungkin dia punya benefit dia mungkin uh, many aspect lah kan. So I think we should investigate into that direction also lah. Then we can collaborate further lah. We can collaborate further.
Mungkin Prof Samsul boleh suggest kita juga buat simulation, optimization and simulation.
Ya,
Itu pun
optimization.
boleh
Ya,
ke
betul
arah
betul.
boleh ke lebih ke Prof Samsul ya, lebih ke sana ya, FKI ya.
Ya, ya.
Mungkin boleh
Ya,
collaborate ke sana.
optimization. Ya, betul betul. Simulation as possible lah.
Uh-uh.
Simulation, optimization. Ya, itu pun possible juga tu.
Yang
Ya,
research yang Bu Afita tadi, yang Puan Afita tuh dia buat tuh. Dia buat optimization juga, lepas tu ada simulation, tapi dia still juga guna nanomaterial lah. Cuma maknanya boleh expand ke sana kot.
ya, ya. Mungkin mungkin possible, possible.
Ya.
Okay. So mungkin juga boleh kita buat maybe inilah kan property AR VR lah kan.
Hmm.
Itu dia lebih kepada teaching and learning lah. Betul tak? So
Ya,
maksudnya
ya.
itu teaching and learning. So sini kita we have expert lah dalam AR VR.
Hmm.
Sebagai contoh, not mistaken, Dr. Alisa, Dr. Faraha, also Associate Professor Dr. Eamon also lah. Then they are expert in AR VR lah.
Ya.
So mungkin juga lah we can collaborate in that direction also lah kan.
Hmm.
Kita ni lah, kita fikirkan. Uh, ya, kita
Boleh, boleh.
fikirkan.
Kalau student exchange macam itu, Prof? Boleh buat ya?
Mungkin juga kita boleh ni lah, we can think about that one regarding student exchange ataupun apa dia, student attachment kan.
Ya.
Tapi that one we have to check lah because is there any MOU between UMS and
Hmm.
Universitas Negeri Malang lah? I
Hmm.
think maybe yes, but maybe from different faculty maybe.
Hmm. Hmm.
So better ni lah probably check first, right? If
Ya.
they already MOU, so we may discuss MOA lah. We can't need MOU anymore, lah, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
meaning that
Ya.
just in case there is MOU between both universities, so we shall discuss regarding MOA lah later
Hmm.
insyaAllah. So under MOA we can include those activities lah.
Ya.
InsyaAllah, insyaAllah. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so is there any more question or suggestion? Dan mungkin later ni lah Prof. Api maybe delegation from Universitas Negeri Malang kan, our
Ah,
faculty as well as apa nama dia punya tu, informatic department kan,
ah, ah.
computing informatic department.
Rasanya mungkin ya
Betul.
lebih ke yang informatic department ya.
Yeah, it's okay lah. I think can collaboration can be with faculty also lah
Ya,
kan. So
tapi
we
tak apa,
just
memang
uh,
dalam fakulti engineering juga kan, Prof?
itulah. So maybe later ni lah kan can
Ah, ah, ah.
visiting UMS lah. So
Boleh, boleh.
hopefully we also can visit Universitas Negeri Malang lah
Mm-mm.
insyaAllah. Okay.
Ya.
Ya ya
Ini
kita cubalah kita.
Vice Dean yang ketiga yang Ibu Siti Sendari yang pasal international collaboration tengah pergi Malaysia, tapi dia pergi
Oke.
dekat Semenanjung. Dia tak pergi Sabah.
You
Lepas tu
Siti
Din
mana tu
Din
dia pergi?
cakap Din cakap, "Pergilah ke Sabah sekali." Jauh lagi dek pandaikan. Dia pergi dari,
Ya, ya.
UTM sampai ke Perlis, sampai ke Unimap. Dia pergi banyak
Oi,
universiti.
dahsyat tu. Utara,
Itulah
selatan ke utara.
15 hari, tak balik
Eh?
kampus.
Okey. So
Karena
maybe
memang
later boleh
memang buat
dijemput lah.
nak ambil collaboration itu, kita orang nak buat collaboration, tapi okeylah
Ya,
pergi Semenanjung. Belum pergi
ya,
sampai
ya,
Sarawak
ya.
lagi.
Ya, nantilah. Nanti Borneo pula.
Boleh
Ya,
boleh.
Borneo
Kena
pergi.
kena tu, kena.
Ya, ya, ya. Okey, so terima kasih Prof. Popi ya. So
Terima
moga
kasih
kita
semua.
ketemu jua lah nanti. Ya,
Insyaallah jemput
insyaAllah. So,
jemput
okey.
datang ke Malang
Assalamualaikum.
semua.
Okey,
Waalaikumsalam.
insyaAllah. Okey, Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih Prof. Waalaikumsalam.
Okey, sama-sama.